Now, in this video, I'll be discussing what I thought about the new trailer for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, as well as what we learned from the panel for the game at Celebration. And first of all, there were two very general takeaways or things I noticed about the panel. First, that EA was barely mentioned at all and had no representation present. Instead, they very much focused on the fact that this game is being created by Respawn. Second of all, and what might have gotten the biggest cheer from the crowd, is when they told us that this was strictly going to be a story-based single-player game and that there would be no microtransactions. Furthermore, we learned that being a Jedi or becoming a Jedi was going to be the main focus of the game, with a lot of emphasis being placed on combat that would be, as companies so often say, easy to learn but difficult to master, that this wouldn't just be a button masher. In fact, if there's one thing I hear from pretty much every game developer out there, it's that their game is going to be easy enough to learn how to play, but will be hard to truly master. So take what you will from them saying that about this game. They then also said the other usual things about how this was more than a game to them, that working on it was a dream come true and it's just a labor of love for them, that it's of course all about making a great Star Wars experience for the fans, and that they can't wait until we can finally play it and see what they've been working on for all these years. Again, these are the usual things companies say when working on a project with such a massive fan base. And other than that, they didn't tell us much about the actual game mechanics or even show us any gameplay footage. In fact, they were very coy about giving us any real details about how this thing would play, and if we could maybe choose different Jedi paths that focus on different abilities or different skills, or maybe even different lightsaber forms or whatever the case might be. We weren't told if this will have something like a traditional leveling system, or maybe something new and unique, or about perhaps some interesting combat mechanics that might separate it from other games in the same genre. We got pretty much nothing on that front at all. And not to sound negative, because I did like the little bits of the game that we did get to see and hear about, but right now, the Star Wars name is the only thing really selling it, because imagine if you remove that aspect. Would anyone give a damn about this game after what they told us in this presentation? Or is it just because Star Wars that anyone is excited? Anyway, what we do know is that it's not an open world game, but rather will be more linear and will have level-based gameplay. And so, all in all, instead of learning anything about the finer workings of the game that might get us really excited, we got a trailer and a few other little tidbits about the story and how it will fit into the overall story of the time period. And yeah, the trailer did look pretty damn cool, don't get me wrong, I am excited for this game, though the idea behind the story itself is not the most original, that being a Padawan who survives Order 66 and goes into hiding. It's basically the same starting story as Kanan Jarrus from Rebels had, not that I expect it to go exactly the same, but as we saw in the book A New Dawn, Kanan also took on a menial type job in order to hide and kind of put the Jedi part of his life behind him, until he met Hera and got pulled back into the fight. And it looks like Cal Kestis, that's the name of our new character, will follow a similar path and start his story pretty much the same way. All that being said, I do like the opening setting of the game, which is some sort of Imperial salvage yard where they're tearing apart old Republic cruisers from the Clone Wars, no doubt to collect material to make new Imperial Star Destroyers. I for one like to see things like that, to see how the transition from Republic to Empire happened on different levels and in different ways, and to see some of the ways the average person in the Star Wars galaxy makes a living and survives. And at one point in the trailer we see Cal cut his way into what I can only guess is a landing bay of one of those Republic cruisers, maybe because he felt something and was drawn to it, and there he sees an old Jedi fighter with an astromech droid still plugged in, and I'm guessing he may get some sort of information from that droid that ultimately sends him on his mission. Which is when he then finds the saber we see him holding at the end of the trailer, and was also shown in a promo from a couple days ago. And most likely that'll happen after that scene where he comes upon a dead clone trooper, still holding a holodisc that relayed the message from Palpatine to execute Order 66. Also in this trailer, as Cal is telling us in a voiceover how he survives the Age of the Empire by not standing out, accepting the past, and trusting no one, he has a Magneto moment, referencing the movie X-Men Apocalypse, where he has to decide if he's going to let someone die right in front of him, or save their life and risk exposing himself. And all in one instant, he decides to break all three of his rules by standing out and trusting that his friend won't betray him after the fact, and he's certainly not accepting the past, that the Jedi are no more, when he uses his Force abilities to save someone. And by the fact that an Inquisitor, second sister to be exact, shows up, I'm going to assume either his friend betrays him or he's spotted by someone or something else, most likely by the probe droid that we see in the trailer. And Cal doesn't realize he's in any danger and thinks maybe he got away with it until she shows up and he has to make a hasty escape and will be then pursued by her for the rest of the game. And it's great that the Inquisitors are once again going to be showing up, with the aforementioned second sister apparently being the main antagonist throughout the entire game. Because as what you might call a canon junkie, I do love the interconnectivity of things. I love that an idea that started in Rebels, the Inquisitors that is, got explored even further than in the second series of the Darth Vader comic books, where Second Sister makes an appearance in issue number 19, and that each piece of the canon can feel like a small part of a bigger puzzle. And to be honest, one of the things Lucasfilm has been doing extremely well here in the Disney era is handling the continuity of the new canon and weaving small threads from one source to another. It'll be interesting to see how well they can keep that up though, as the years go by and the different stories start to stack up. Anyway, there were two things Respawn seemed very excited or proud to show off, one of which was the new type of trooper, that being a purge trooper, which does make sense that they would exist. It makes sense that special troopers would be trained how to fight Jedi, and that they would oftentimes be sent out first to investigate Jedi sightings, especially when you consider there is less than a dozen Inquisitors, and only one Lord Vader when things get real serious. The other thing they seemed happy to show off was the new droid companion for Cal, that being BD1, who I'm sure will no doubt help you quite a bit along the way, though who knows how exactly, because I'm going to guess he's a type of utility droid that'll be able to do certain things like open doors and slice into computer systems for you. Other than that, we weren't told much about where this story is going to go exactly, which is fine. I don't want everything spoiled for me. I'd rather play the game and find out myself. But again, what kind of disappointed me was the lack of info about the game mechanics and giving us nothing about how this would actually play. Hell, they couldn't even fill the entire hour the panel was supposed to run with information about the game, and it ran like 15 minutes short, and a lot of that time was, again, spent talking about what it meant to them to make a Star Wars game, which is cool, and I'm happy it seems like they truly have a passion for what they did, and yeah, it's great that they put so much care into the story, and there will be never-before-seen planets and promises of other surprises along the way. And I do love a good story in a video game. It's very important, and with this being a Star Wars game, that's doubly important to me. But I love building characters in games and choosing how they grow and progress. Most of the time, that's what keeps me playing a game, because if I just want a good story, I'll watch a movie or read a book. And what keeps me vested in a video game oftentimes is that feeling like I'm making the choices and becoming more powerful as I go, and that I get to play the game as I want to play it. So in closing here, yeah, the trailer looks good, and I of course appreciate the care and love they say and likely have put into the game, but I don't know how much we really learned beyond what we already knew, that we were going to play as a Padawan who survived Order 66 in the time period between episodes 3 and 4. Which again is not the most original concept, not to mention I already played a game that sounds very similar to this called The Force Unleashed, though I think it's safe to say Cal in this game is going to be nowhere near as powerful as my boy Starkiller was, which is fine because, let's keep it real, he was a bit much at times, though damn was he ever fun to play. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Now it's your turn to tell me what you think of Jedi Fallen Order. Are you excited about what we saw and learned today? Or are you like me and do you feel a little underwhelmed by the lack of details? Either way, let me know in the comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.